how Oracle will look at me, whether I want to come and kick him at in the studio and all that. So I have to respect myself this morning. What am I saying? You need to take certain habits to your chest, because I remember sometimes, when I didn't take health matters very serious, exercises and all that. I didn't take all those serious until I got to a point where, my doctor said to me, look, so what has been your exercise life and all that? And I said, almost zero. I said, look, you need to take that serious and then, meet a nutritionist and then begin to also look at what you eat. Yeah. Here we threw in everything that we see anywhere into our mouths. We threw it, in those days when our people, lived longer than part of this, probably because they were going to farms.
The food was fresh.
Yes, and food fresh from the farm.
Yeah.
And they were taking them, and then they did a lot of labor, and that labor was much of exercise and burning off. Today you have hypertension on its increase. You have blood pressure, sugar, that's diabetes on the increase. It is because today our people are no longer going to farms. After all, people have taken over their farms, both herders and other people scrambling for their lands. And so people have no access, to going to their lands. They are afraid of even going to their lands because there's land grabbing or land recovery, and herders have taken over and all that. And so people tend to now, are now people are now lazy in doing certain things for even themselves, even in domestic activities that ordinarily people should get themselves involved. And because we are now too lazy. And so where do we have the opportunity to burn off some of these things? Oracle, I tell you, when I decided to take the path of, honor by embarking on some of those, exercises, it may not be hard ones. It can be just a workout from one end to another. Yeah. You burn off. And then taking what you take into your mouth, very, very serious. Not everything you see, or that you have a big quantum of food, every time, and then you throw it. When we are growing up, Oracle, in our place, you have one big bowl of gari, you do it, and then where you stop, the next morning you continue. That's how we were. Yes, some of us didn't grow from big families and all that. I don't know what they eat, but what they ate. But that's the kind of family that we were brought up. And then, if you continued in that, that kind of family, there's nothing that, you end up being a diabetic and suffering from hypertension and all that. And so, if you're having this kind of statistics coming from the Southeast, it may not be unconnected to the fact that people are not taking their healthcare, serious. Seriously. And the people, for me, it's a time for, it's just not about the Southeast. I'm sure that if you conduct an in-depth study, even in Rivers State or in the South, where there's nothing else that we are doing is to sit down and watch, dramas, dramatic personnel, politically, and either you align, you call Nigeria Info, you align on A side or B side, and then you have nothing to talk about is politics. So why will hypertension not come? Why will diabetes not be on the increase? Because we have nothing else to do than to sit down and join one A or join another B.
Okay, now we have many more things to talk about. Coming up next is the delegation to COP28. The figures state 1,411. The federal government says it is way lower than that. And some media outlet has estimated how much it very likely cost, not just the government, but the country. But I'd like to hear from you. So far, we've talked about Osimhen winning Italian Player of the Year and the Southeast being the highest in hypertension rates. This is according to the Nigerian Hypertension Society. 0817-923-0002. 0817-923-0003. WhatsApp is 080-903-06416. Please turn off your radio as you call. It is very important so we can hear you and we have a smooth conversation. All right, I have 4 minutes before the break. Let's see, can I squeeze in the next one? Well, in response to the uproar on social media, the presidency says only a handful of the 1,411 Nigeria delegates who registered to attend the COP28 climate summit in Dubai were sponsored by the federal government. The presidency explained that the bulk of the contingents comprise private sector players, such as business people, civil society organizations, and delegates from Nigeria's oil-producing Niger Delta region. It also argued that delegates were at the summit to provide their respective causes and not to jamboree. We earlier heard that the Nigerian government nominated at least 589 delegates. But the government claims it did not sponsor all of those delegates, even though 1,411 Nigerians are currently in Dubai. The government did not sponsor that number. The Minister of Information and National Orientation, Mohammed Idris, clarified that the number of delegates sponsored by the federal government in Dubai is 422 and not 1,411. The Minister of Environment, Balarabe Abbas Lawal, also spoke on this particular subject.
I saw the text, the figure for ministry. I just laughed. So many people that mentioned, I don't hear, because I can tell you that I have seen more than 50 names that they put in that story. That did not even come here. Those are things that didn't even get. So this is another just like the figure is far, far beyond that talking about. In fact, the number of Nigerians that I hear are mainly from the private sector.
All right. So a lot of them are from the private sector, and the government did not sponsor a lot of them. After the break, of course, we'll have the analysis of this. But there was a study, a report by Premium Times, state that the government spent at least 2.7 billion naira to sponsor the delegates, around the corridors of 3 billion. And the figure was reached based on the current flight rates. On average, the estimated cost to and from Dubai, from Nigeria to Dubai, is 2 million naira. At this rate, the cost of a two-way flight ticket for 412 people, that's if we're working with the figure the government has given us, will amount to 824 million. Now, 12 people because President Tinubu and at least 10 officials would have traveled in the presidential jet, while the remaining over 400 are estimated to have taken commercial flights. The figure could be higher because some officials maybe traveled business class tickets, which is obviously more expensive than economy. Some officials have been rumored to have also gone in private jets, not necessarily the president. So when you add all of this, it would very likely take it beyond the 3 billion naira mark. But again, this is an estimation, a study done by Premium Times. No official figure has been given by the federal government yet. So after the break, we'll be talking about the number of delegates, what it very likely cost the government, and if the government has shown the resolve to reduce the cost of governance. Please stay with us. Here's the front page, 92.3 Nigeria Info. Sam Oracle Chinedu here. And my guest is still with me, Professor Ken Nweke. He is a professor of politics and governance, Ignatius Ajuri University. You're welcome once again, Prof.
Thank you. Oracle, the date.
All right, so we were speaking on the delegation to Dubai for the COP28. They didn't tell us how many they sponsored. Eventually, they said they sponsored 420. But we brought the third highest number of delegates. The host, UAE, had 4,409, followed by Brazil that had about 3,000. Nigeria was third with 1,411. And so there are so many talking points from this. But what do you make of, first of all, the number of the delegates to COP28, a conference, a summit about climate change?
It's unbelievable. Because while you were talking, I didn't even know that you were going into the statistics of what the implications, financial implications, even on the economy. I was doing my own calculation. Exactly 2 million. I didn't hear it from anywhere because I could imagine what the flight would be return. And this is a country that has refused Nigerians visa, in the couple of months now.
Yeah.
Probably because of this conference, and these ones were allowed, and then looking at the enormity of funds that are accruable to this country. 422. I was doing my mathematics, and exactly I took 2 million naira for return tickets. It doesn't stop with return ticket. You have your basic traveling allowance.
Yeah.
Okay, that you should have now.
Yeah.
You will do small shopping now.
There are allowances.
Yes, now. No, because at least you must have something in your pocket. You just don't go to Dubai, enter flight, go down without having something in your pocket. And then you must also eat. You didn't consider that one. People will eat now. And Dubai is a place that anybody will want to be.
Yeah.
And then, in fact, as you pass through Dera and all that axis, it's a place for shopping, and you be tempted, except you don't have the money in your pocket, to offload everything you have, and then even if you come to Nigeria and go hungry, you will go, because of course you know that it's a place that you can get the best. You can also get very low quality things in Dubai. It's a choice of yours. So what am I saying in effect? So when you calculate 2 million for flights, and I'm wondering, because recently I did a study on energy transition, okay, and then looking at globally, where because for some years now I've been in the oil and gas industry,
Okay.
Trying to look at the contributions of the industry, and then maybe bridge the gap between the industry and academia in the role I play for Shell Nigeria.
Yeah.
And from that research, it's not clear the direction of Nigeria when you talk about energy transition. And when you talk about this climate change, I watched a lot of Nigerians, especially from the Niger Delta. Very brilliant. The guy that represented, is it Ijaw National Congress or something?
Yeah.
One of those guys.
Yeah.
Very brilliant guy. I watched him either in Arise or one of these media. And talked very well, very intelligent guy. So you could have spotted some Nigerians, some groups, a few that had a lot, or that have a lot to present in terms of, where we are. Because the major concern when I watched the guy talk about, if the mess that we have in the Niger Delta, resulting from oil exploration and exploitation, and then you are talking about climate change, and then because the world is now going away from fossil fuel
to renewable
energy.
Yeah.
And so what will happen to Niger Delta that's already been mesmerized The environment mesmerized. Development we have not seen anywhere. In fact, as I speak to you, even in the little place I stay in Port Harcourt, I have not seen public electricity for the past 4 months because transformer is gone, and I've been running on the diesel and fuel, and so everything you get in a month goes into running just to maintain power for yourself. And then so you can imagine a Niger Delta that is suffering in the midst of plenty, and so people are not talking about moving away from fossil fuel. It's like, so where do you leave us in all of those messes that we have? And then you are talking about that, but there is no clear direction from deliberate government policy for moving away from fossil fuel to renewable energy, and then resulting from the issues around climate change. And then all you do is to carry. You didn't watch them. I'm sure you watched them, how they were moving. It was like a jamboree. We in Makwanda, do you know who we are and all that? And they're just moving. So are you moving with a clear policy direction that you already have in country, and then you are going to launch it globally for the global community to understand where we have been and where we want to be? And so have we got some deliberate government policies that you have or successive governments bequeath for others to follow? We don't have that. And so what you think that we should have is to gather, assuming without considering 422 Nigerians. So that amount of money, if you are talking about 3 billion, would have been enough to fix completely Port Harcourt, Enugu to the north. So part of the north Nigeria. If you from even Enugu and Nsukka area going to the northern Nigeria, you can't pass those places. And then you come to the west, the east-west road, okay? Then connecting Lagos and all that. So we have enormity of responsibilities to bequeath generations that we have. Or rather than have, you said about 1,000 plus Nigerians, and they're coming up in the media to say 422. Is callousness on the part of those who are in government, those who manage this so-called climate change conference that they went. It's a jamboree as far as I'm concerned, because if you do a careful study, there are some groups that you have selected, especially from the Niger Delta, okay, that may have very good presentations to make.
Yeah.
And I don't have problems with that, because as a university teacher, we cherish conferences, and that's where you can discuss issues and profile solutions. But it is not. I don't know the caliber of persons, even for the politicians that had gone for that conference, and what were the presentations that they made. And even if you are making presentations there, what policy directions can I place my hand? Because while doing this study on renewable energy, which I was going to present, in a conference in Boston, and I didn't see any deliberate government policy direction on energy transition, Arako. It is merely stated on paper, and because there's a global drive towards renewable energy and all that, it's as if we are not keen into anything. There's no document I'm sure that you can look at and say, this is what President Muhammad Buhari, for instance, bequeathed for this particular government, or this is what this government of President Tinubu is also working out. That every other government that succeeds, we run on. And so what you want to bequeath for us is, assuming without considering 422 delegates in a country that barely can feed its people. That is callousness on the part of those in government.
Oh, Prof, I'm glad you pointed out the brilliance of the man who you saw, speak on TV. And we cannot deny the brains that we sent to Dubai. When I was about having this conversation this week, I think it was, I was on Morning Crossfire for a bit. It was difficult for me to get a guest, not because they were not, I didn't have the identities, but many of them were in Dubai. You know, and when I called, they said, "Oh, Sam, sorry, the timing." 2 doctors. There, of course, some journalists are there. There are climate activists. There are people in the NGO space. There are lots of people who you know, at least you know some of these people personally. When they get there, they have what it takes. They understand the subject. There is the presentation. Officially from government, 10 journalists are registered. Officially, government delegation. I know there are way more than 10 journalists. Some of them are, of course, in the private. And when you go, you register as Nigerian. So it's all. Now, my question is, and this is what you pointed out, there are a lot of these bright minds who you know will contribute to that conference. Why was it still important to go with as many government officials who would very likely not have a lot to contribute? Now, according to that same report by the Premium Times, all ministries 167, Federal Parastatals Agencies 73, Presidency 67, National Assembly 40, Federal Ministry of Environment 34, National Council on Climate Change 32, Office of Vice President 9. Look at the sectors that have something to contribute. Federal Ministry of Environment, Council on Climate Change, they brought 34, 32. Meanwhile, ministries, National Assembly, 160 something, 70. So it tells you where the priorities lie. It's very, very simple. And
No, Oracle, you see, if you look at that figure, at the one that they accepted, right, you will agree that it's all about political patronage. Can you put how many people who may have worked for us, in quotes, during the elections, and who may be working for us? Because as soon as they are sworn in, they are already living out that particular election. In fact, they also said it's a walkover, even in tribunal and all that. Then they are thinking about second coming. And so who had worked for us before? And who will? And so it's about political patronage. And it's not about, that's why I said, if you have deliberate government, policy, state policy on energy transition or renewable energy policy, and that you can lay hands and say, from now till long-term plan, because this issue of renewable energy transition is not a one-off thing.
Yeah.
Even for studies I have carried out, researches that I have carried out, it is not something that anybody would say crude oil will just disappear. We are looking for cleaner energy. In SPDC say the powering progress. Okay, so looking for cleaner energy because of the effect of oil exploration and exploitation in most parts of the world. And then we are thinking about how can we, but in Nigeria, we have not been able to even manage the crude oil exploration and exploitation. We've not been able to effectively manage the environment. And then, is anybody bothering himself about running? The other day I was in UNN and I saw rechargeable plant or something that the university, built for electric vehicles. That's a people who are thinking faster. Where people come. But I was there for some days and I watched how many, electric vehicles came to recharge in that station.
Functional.
It's functional, but I was watching to see how many electric vehicles came in to recharge there. I didn't see one. Sorry. Oracle.
Wait, hold on. The plant exists.
I'm not in UNN.
It is functional.
It is functional.
So why were they not using it?
Probably it's not. And I was asking, how many electric vehicles, would you find in Nsukka, for instance?
Yeah.
In a small, it is only made popular because of the university.
Yeah.
And well, a good thought for a university to have, conceived that. And so, but I'm talking about the awareness.
No, but wait, sorry, I have to digress because I'm very interested in this. The university becomes the case study in that case.
Yeah.
So let's leave Nsukka. Let's talk about the university community. So having vehicles run within the university for transport purposes or whatever, at least test run it first. So
I'm not saying that. I don't know how long, probably recently, because I saw the date of commissioning.
Okay.
Just in the last 1 year or so. I'm talking about even the awareness of electric vehicles.
Okay.
And I'm sure that if my people in one small village, of course, we don't have road from Umeblu to Iboiche, so there's no way you can even take any electric vehicle to the place. I'm sure if they take, but we still have hybrid. You can still see hybrid, vehicles that are running, right? But the awareness is not something that even the man on the street, even in Port Harcourt, knows so much about. What am I saying, Oracle? I'm saying that there is no deliberate government policy at all levels about where we are and where we ought to be in the next 30, 50 years. The other countries have gone far ahead of us. Even if you cannot do away completely with oil in this part. Of course, what they want to do is to see how they bridge the gap, between oil and cleaner energy, because there will not end to crude oil production, of course. But in this part, we are not even talking about how best to even manage the crude oil production that we have, and manage the environment effectively. And then you are gathering as many Nigerians as you would gather, as if you had picking anybody that you want to for political patronage. There are people, when you ask them about climate change, what's climate change? They don't understand. They don't understand why they are even in Dubai. You are talking about these government officials. Are you talking about the other people that they carry that they provided visas to enter that are not accounted for officially?
Okay, Prof. Let's listen to the listener. If you'd like to be a part of this conversation, this will be the best time to call. The numbers to call are 0817 923 0002. 0817 923 0003. We've talked about Osimhen winning Italian Player of the Year. The NHS, that's the Nigerian Hypertension Society, stating that the Southeast has the highest hypertension rates in the country. And, of course, the presidency clarifying the number of delegates sponsored by the federal government. Please turn off your radio as you call and go straight to the point. Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning, Oracle.
Good morning. What's your name?
Calling from Buri.
All right. Please go ahead.
Hello?
Yes, I can hear you. Yeah, go ahead, please. Oh, my. Okay, call back if you can. Hello, good morning.
Good morning, Oracle.
Good morning. What's your name?
My name is Mike. I'm calling from Burkina Faso.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah. Oracle, please. I don't even know what to say. Listening to what that prof has said, it is so disturbing. I also saw some people who have not, just like that man said, some people who went for that court don't even know why they are there. I'm telling you the truth. If they are to interview them, many of them don't know why they are there. But because of the privilege they have. But I have to ask them, what do we do? Listening to you, it makes someone so sad. Go forward. What do we do as a people to actually stop all this nonsense, this mess? What do we do, sir?
All right, thank you very much. Hello, good morning. Hello.
Good morning, Oracle.
Good morning. What's your name?
Eze Ken, calling from Ubumini.
Go ahead, Eze.
Oracle, yesterday, I overheard in your radio the reason why these numbers of persons went to Dubai.
Okay, tell me.
For a summit, according to them. And the man emphasizing on the number, condemning the number, seems to be an Akwa Ibom man, based on the name that was mentioned.
Okay.
That is it because of, to give the account of how the last summit was done, whether you are progressing or what have you done so far. I literally see it as a report that is coming back now in this year's summit to give the a report or account of what you have learned considering the last one. that will prompt, I don't know if I will call it federal government or Nigerians to gather the, I don't know if they were going to, for an election, that you want them to use such huge amount of persons, considering, not considering, undermining the hardship of this country. Imagine where one person for a flight with 2 million naira, that is official by the way. And this time we are still seeing that Nigeria can go beyond this in terms of development. It is very, very unfortunate, Mr. Oracle.
It is. Well, thanks for your thoughts. I have a few comments and very little time. Sam and the Prof in the studio, good morning. Whoever conducted the research on the Southeast is wrong, because the Southeast I came from are too busy with their shops and business to be hypertensive. They should reconduct the research and come up with a new observation. Finally, this Dubai conference on matters arising, FG should explain tire, no evidence. Simply goodness. So there's something you need to understand. When a survey is done, it is based on, this is the Nigerian Hypertension Society. So based on very likely the cases treated, I remember when they said that something around DNA testing, there was a time it was trending that, you know, a lot of the DNA testing revealed that it was the firstborns that did not belong to the man. Now, what you will understand is, for a lot of those centers that did the testing, what they did is they took the data, all the people that came here to do DNA test. We realized that 80% of the, okay, let's say 100 people came, so we'll make the percentage easier. Out of the 100, 80 had the firstborns not belonging to the husband. So when they put out that data and say 80% of women who do DNA testing in Port Harcourt gave birth to first child for another man, it is based on the data that they have. So I don't think the NHS would gain anything from
nothing.
You know, no, it's not. Please understand how these things work. Dear Oracle, which year did Nigeria start attending COP on climate action? Since 2015, Nigeria has been attending. That's 9 years now. Technology has revealed that there are 4 ways of decarbonizing to reduce CO2 and other gases released in the atmosphere. Today, we have moved from global warming to global boiling. And the drive is to ensure that the temperature does not go beyond. Okay, I can't take all of your message, but thank you. I get the point. And Tech says, I have no real problem with the total figure. If federal government was funding them all, but my wahala is even if only Nigeria was in the conference, or it was hosted in Nigeria at Aso Rock, and we didn't pay transport or hotel bill, would we implement any take-home policies? That's what the Prof has been, stating for a very long time. We're almost out of time, Prof, and I would really, very, very much like us to wrap this up. So after the break, you have our final thoughts. Please stay with us. right here with Samuel Chinedu. I still have Professor Ken with me. River State Governor Sim Fubara says he will not surrender his mandate to intimidation and blackmail. Your thoughts, Professor? Very quickly.
I think I go with him. For me, you may not have liked him. You may not have liked the process that brought him. But from where you see, from where I sit, I see him as a David. And probably very sincere. We have not had that level of sincerity.
Okay.
Look at my face and tell me the truth. Never. We have never had that. So
okay.
Let's give him the opportunity. And if you touch him, probably may touch God.
What a way to end the show. Thank you very much, Prof, for your time.
Thank you.
We truly appreciate it. 9 o'clock is upon us. The news around the world happens now. After that is Standout with Patrick Oduma. Please stay with us.